Okay, so the pieces that you will need for page 5, there's a lot of them, okay, so bear with me. Piece A measures 9 3/4 by 8. B is 5 by 7.5. C is 2 by 7.5. You need 2 D pieces, and they measure 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. E is 4 1/4 by 9 1/4. F is 4 1/4 by 5 1/8. G is 5 1/8 across by 9 3/4. You need 2 H pieces. They measure 6 1/4 by 9 3/4. And lastly, you need 2 I pieces. They're just little hinges, 1 inch by 4.5. Okay, so that's a lot of pieces, I know, but we got this. We got this. If you need to review that, maybe just have the PDF part open so you can get all those measurements again, and we will start scoring everything. So, starting with A, I'm going to score it at half on the 8-inch side. Okay, that's A. B will be scored at, it's on the 5-inch side. It's going to be scored at 1/2 inch. 1 3/4. And 4.5. So again, that was 1/2 inch, 1 3/4, 4.5. Okay, so it looks like that. Can you see? Alright, this light is really weird coming in my studio right now. Okay, your C piece will be scored at 1/2, at 3, and at 7, and that's on the 7.5 inch side. Okay, and then we've got your 2 D pieces. Oh, the D pieces don't get scored, that's right. Okay, so the D pieces do not get scored. And then we've got your E. So you want to score piece E at 4 5/8 along the 9 1/4 inch side. So just one little tick past the 4.5. 4 5/8. And then F will be scored at 1/2 along the 5 1/8 side. G will be scored at 1/2. So 5 1/8 at the top, scored at 1/2. And at 5/8 to create a little gusset. Okay, a little gusset there. The 2 H pieces will be scored at 4 7/8 along the 9 3/4 inch side. There's 1. There's 2, and then your 2 little eye hinges will be scored down the center lengthwise, so along the 1 inch side, scored at 1/2. Okay, you know what time it is. Time for some score tape. Sorry, I don't know why I'm singing that. Alright, so let's just add score tape to all of the 1/2 inch sections. Okay, so only the 1/2 inch sections, so the H pieces don't get any score tape. One line along the, what is it, G? Remember to put your score tape on the valley side. Again, no score tape, none on the D's either, just on the 1/2 inch sections of C. Last one, and then we will miter our corners. Okay. Let's miter the corners here. And make sure on the piece with the gusset that you only go from this, where are we here? From this score line, the outside score line to the edge. Okay, don't cut into that other score line. There we go. Let's see. Okie dokie. Let's get our biddies out of the way. Oh, I forgot the hinges. Hinges first. So now you can fold and crease all of the score lines with your bone folder, and then bring in your next base page. I'm just going to crease all of mine off camera just to save a bit of time, and be right back. Okay, bring in your next base page. Your little flappies. These 1/2 inch sections are to the left. We're going to begin by removing the score tape backing from piece A and adhering it to the top of your base page. Easy peasy. Alright, there's that. Now, you're probably going to want to put your, well, you are going to want to put your pattern paper on these two sections before we continue. You won't be able to, I mean, you can paper piece it later on, however it might be slightly difficult. So I really highly suggest putting your pattern paper on now. Okay. Okay, so there's the first piece, and then we'll do the bottom. Okay, so get this one on there. Alright, now we can continue. So grab your B piece. Alright, and with the two 1/2 inch flaps facing up and the longer section on the top, line it up so that it is right in the crease of where A and the base page meet. Okay, so it's lined up together like that, and then center it so you have equal distance on the left and the right. I'm just gonna eyeball it. All right, and now take a pencil or a pen or something. You won't see this mark, but make it small, and just kind of make a little mark right on the edge here and right on the edge of the bottom. Okay, just a small mark. So there's two small marks, are hard to see One's there, and one's right there. Okay, now take that same piece, turn it around 180 degrees, so now you have the short side at the top. Flip it over. I will remove the tape backing first. Okay, and now flip it over so you've got the short side here, and you're going to line up these edges with those marks that you've made. Alright, so the short side is now at the top, long side is now at the bottom, centered left to right. So now, when you start to close this, it does that. So it's kind of like a pop-up, okay? So that is piece B. Now piece C is going to go over top of that. So piece C. You're going to align, so the shorter half is at the top. You're going to line it up with the crease of B. Okay, so line the two, where can I see? There you go, now you can see. So line the creases up. That light really is pretty, actually. Line the creases up, and then we're going to adhere that down. So again, you can either measure it, or I'm just going to eyeball it so that it is centered left to right. So remove the tape backing from the two ends, line it up centered left to right. That looks pretty darn good to me. And then adhere it down. Okay, so it looks like that. And when you begin to fold it, it does that. Alright? Now your 2D pieces that you didn't do anything with, like there is no score lines or anything like that, 2D pieces, they are going to adhere on either side of the C piece. Okay, they're going to go, so just add adhesive just to this lower section on each side of B. Okay? So I'm just going to, actually I'm going to use score tape for this, I think. And don't put the score tape too close. You don't want any extra adhesive making it so that your mechanisms don't work. Okie dokie. Alright, so line this up so that it is going to be, it'll go right to the edge of the page here, so it'll line right up with the edge of A, and it'll line up with the bottom part of B. Okay, and then do the same on the other side. Line it up. And there we go. And now we're going to add adhesive to the center section. And well, first get your E and your F piece, and we're going to adhere F onto one side of E. Okay, so let's do that first. Okay, so F adhered to one edge of E, just so you have something that looks like that. Okay, and now we are going to adhere this piece centered onto the front of your C piece. So I'm going to put some score tape right here. So just on the bottom portion of C. Okay, and you can do it afterwards, but it's actually easier to do it beforehand. Let's add a magnet to close this together. So we'll put a little piece of score tape onto F here. 2 magnets. There's 1. Another piece of score tape. Excellent. And now we will center it and adhere it down. Okay, so now it looks like that, and then these open like that. So you've got like a nice pop-up. Alright, so there's that. Now we're going to add if you haven't already. You might have already done this. Put G down around the same time that you put A down. So I'm going to use a border or something just to cover this little piece up when I decorate. And now I'm going to add magnets closing G over A. Okay, so 2 pieces of score tape. Ba-ba-da. And 2 magnets on each of those. Two more pieces of score tape. Okay, and then that goes up over top of A, so that's magnetized now. And now we are going to take our last pieces. So we're going to put the hinges on either side of the front part of G here. So remove 1/2 of the score tape backing and put one with the opening facing in on the right or the left edge and the other on the right edge. Okay, just like that. And then remove the backing from those. And your so the H pieces, one is going to open to the left, the other one is going to open to the right. So, and they will meet exactly in the center. So adhere that to the other half of the hinge. I think I might have gotten that a tiny bit crooked. And then the other one. So this one will open that way. So they're going to meet in the center and line them up. Okay, so there you have that. This is a little bit. Like that. Okay, so now we are going to add some magnets. I want both of these to magnetize to this. I might do a magnetized swing tab on this part, so I'm just going to put magnets closing this to this. And you don't even have to do that if you don't want to, because the one magnetic swing tab on the front will keep everything closed. This is just a couple extras. So these are optional magnets here, but I'd like to do it. Okay. There's one. And the other one. Perfect. Alright, now we will just decorate this, continuing on with the greens and the peaches. I'm going to put a little bit of it on, and then I'll come back and we'll do the swing tab and everything together. Okay, be right back. Okay, so I'll just show you what pieces I have on so far. So green on the front, opens up to some oranges. These pull down like that. This is, I wanted this piece at the top, but I didn't have a big enough piece, so I used a different color at the bottom. So when you open it up, I've got, this is what I have here. I've got the greens on the side, and then this fairy pattern in the center. Okay, and then, so because I chose to add the G piece at the end instead of when I added the A piece, I've got this 1/2 inch border strip. So I talk about that in the tutorial. You could have put the G piece on at the same time as you put your A piece on, and then put the pattern paper down, so then this would be covered. So it's totally your choice. I decided to do it this way just because I didn't want all of this in my way at the time. And then to cover it up, I'm just going to add this little strip of the fairy kind of stamps, and then I'm going to put another stamp up here. So, and you can even make this into a pocket if you desire, and just put adhesive on the bottom and the two sides, and then it can be a little pocket. I think I'm going to glue it all the way down, but completely your choice. So I just wanted to show you that. So I'm going to adhere that now. You can always use, you don't have to use a border strip. You could use a piece of washi tape or a piece of ribbon, or you know, there's all kinds of options. You do want something that's going to be quite flat, though. You don't want, because it needs to close over things, so you don't want it to be something that has dimension. I'll just get all the score tape off this, we'll put that down, and then we can work on the front. Okie dokie. So let's put that down. Okie doke. So that's that. I'm going to close this up. Close this up. So I wanted to put 2 swing tabs closing these 2 pieces. So I've got some swing tabs that I've cut out using the Tim Holtz Tiny Tags die, and then I've already put, I've placed them where I wanted them and put a tiny little pen dot where, like, through the hole, so I know where I wanted to put it, so I went like that. So I've got two little pen, I don't know if you can even see them. There's one there, and then there's one right there. So I'm going to poke holes where those two dots are. Okay, and then we will adhere or attach the swing tabs using brads. We'll just stick that in here and then open the tines on the back. And then the other one. There we go. Just couldn't see what I was doing. Okay, so now that they're back there, they are hidden with the mechanisms here. However, I do want to put something over them, so over the tines, so that they don't come out. So I might just use a couple stickers. I don't want to use double-sided tape just because I don't want the backing of the tape to come off and then have everything stick together. So let's see. Okay, I don't think I'm going to use the buttons for anything else, so I'm going to use these two button stickers just to cover the tines. You can use any sticker you like, or even just a piece of cardstock over top of it. Just as long as there's something there. Like I said, you really won't see them unless you're like looking in here sideways. Okay, so that is that. So now these will go over top like that. I mean, you can, if you so desire, you can put them over both pieces like that as well. I had planned on just doing it over top of the one each, and then for this part I was thinking, so I've got this little oh wait, that's not what I wanted. Not that one, this one. Oh, is that right? Oh yeah, I guess that's right. Okay, so I have this garden tag here, and I was going to attach it to this side and then have a couple magnets here and have it be a large swing tab. So what I've backed it on some cardstock. I'm going to add a magnet here. And then I've cut another piece of cardstock that is exactly the same, so I'm going to attach them together to cover that magnet. So it's sandwiched together, and it makes it a little thicker too. Okay, sandwich them together. Perfect. So now the magnet's right over here. Now I'm just going to recut this hole here since I just added that magnet. Okay, so now I'm going to place it where I want it to be, so around the middle, and make a little mark right there. So you want this piece of pattern paper to already be adhered, but you want this one to not be adhered yet. I've just temporarily stuck it there because what we want to do is we'll punch a hole over here. Oh, it doesn't look quite centered though. Is it quite? I feel like we're not quite centered. That looks a little bit better. I'm just gonna, yeah, that looks better to me. I'm gonna put it there instead. Okay, so punch that little hole. Oh, and you probably don't want the pattern paper on the other side either. Now I just got a little hole. Shoot. Okay, so pattern paper on the front, but not on the back. I forgot that it was sitting there. Silly Katya. Okay, so grab another brad here. And let's attach this. Okay, so that is attached like that. And now we can put another magnet, just let it attach like that, and put a little bit of score tape on it. Remove the backing and make sure it's straight. Okay, perfect. So that now adhered the corresponding magnet. All right. Now you could have done, if you like, you can make both of these magnetic swing tabs as well by following the same process. Put a magnet on the back, layer of cardstock on the back to cover the magnet, and then before you put your pattern paper on, have a magnet adhere it down to the black cardstock underneath here. Alright, so I just decided not to do all of them magnetized, just that one. So now we can add our pattern paper to the front and the inside. Okay, there we go, and then this piece on the inside here. Okay. Fantastic. So got that happening. All right. And scrape that off too. So I'm going to be adding a little bit more embellishing to the front of this as well. But for now, we will move on to, what are we at? Page 5. No, 6. This was page 5. So page 6.